Hello, David and Tom Moore with Equity Advantage and IRA Advantage here talking about retirement accounts today and get to ask my brother Tom questions. I make sure I'm asking the questions, not receiving the questions, so I don't get tripped up. So I did let you look at them.
Throw one in.
Yeah, be nice. So what we're going to talk about today is IRAs, 401k plans. So the first question, Tom, can you borrow from an IRA?
No, you cannot borrow from an IRA. Not from a traditional IRA or SEP IRA, whether it's at a self-directed custodian or not. The IRA is not an account that you can borrow funds from.
How about 401k plans? If we put a solo 401k plan together for somebody, how about in that situation?
Absolutely. One of the big advantages to a solo 401k plan, any 401k plan, is that you can borrow from it. You've got limitations on borrowing. Essentially, you can borrow up to $50,000 from the 401k plan, but it's a maximum of half of what's in there. So half of what's in there up to $50,000.
So when we also do what's called rollover business startups, ROBs, and in that situation, I mean, if we're looking at a rollover business startup is typically we're just looking at a new 401k plan and a C Corp, but depending on how much somebody needs to use in the business, would it be possible instead of having to go through the whole rollover business startup, if we just put a 401k plan together and person, if they were to be able to work with 50 or less, if they had access to it, that might be a better solution, just to put the plan together and borrow instead of go through the whole process? Or do you have any thoughts on that? And of course, I'm asking him a question that we didn't talk about at all, but I'm putting him on the spot.
Yeah, probably depends on how long they're looking to have that money out of their IRA.
So with that said, so Tom, and this is once again something that's a little different, but I just want to hit it. So we handle tax-deferred exchanges in here, and the 1031 requires, obviously, the timeline's the biggest headache with any time. Would it be possible to combine plan money, whether we're talking IRA and 401k funds, to an acquisition in a 1031? Is that something that's possible?
Yes, it is. And on that note, we've had transactions where people have set up IRAs or 401k plans to add to the pot, so to speak, to be able to buy properties. And we've also had situations where people have had IRAs. We talk about borrowing money, but although with the IRA account you cannot borrow money from it, you can do a 60-day rollover once a year. So sometimes we'll have transactions where people might get into, say, a reverse exchange where they've got to have additional cash over and above what they've got in their ordinary savings to go out and buy a piece of property. And we've had situations where they've borrowed money, not borrowed, but they have taken a distribution from their IRA, bought the property, and been able to sell their property in the reverse exchange and take proceeds from that to pay back their IRA. And as long as that can all take place within 60 days, and then the exchange and the IRA rollover is all good as far as the IRS is concerned.
Interesting. So you could do the same thing with the acquisition and a cash out refi after acquisition too. If you had in today's world, I'm just saying this out loud. We have a lot of situations in today's world where the banking reform is sort of strangled people's ability to get things done. And once in a while we'll set up a deal where we've got a source of funds for an acquisition be in one place, and it changes, and all of a sudden the lender says, well, gee, now we're not going to fund this thing, right? Yep. We've had this happen. So that rollover would be an opportunity to fix a problem there short term and then get it back.
Exactly.
So once again, I just want to stress what Tom said was 60 days. If you haven't pulled any money out of this account in the last year for any purpose, then you're allowed one of those a year, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So
and we've had a couple of reverse transactions in the last month or two where we've had that situation. Somebody has been able to take their distribution, take a distribution. They've gotten their purchase done, their sale done, paid back the IRA in the 60 days, and and it was primarily because of what you said. The lenders are not willing to work with them on an acquisition.
Interesting. So what Tom just said, there's one thing I really want to stress, and this is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings in this whole space, is people are always saying, well, I want to take money out of my IRA or 401k plan to go buy this property or that note or whatever it might be, and that's not at all what they're doing, right? I mean, nothing's being pulled out. In the 60-day rollover, we're pulling it out and getting it back in. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, nothing's being pulled out. We're just changing the investment vehicle, whether it's the custodian or the 401k plan typically, right?
Yeah. Everything that we're dealing with typically is going to be a no tax situation to the client, because it's either going to be, and what we're talking about is a rollover. Again, the 401k plans you can borrow, but with these rollovers, no taxes as long as you get it back in the 60 days is very important. And a lot of people will go into these transactions and be pretty confident, especially in today's market, that they can buy and get their property sold and repay the account in that time period. If they weren't able to get the property sold, we've got the exchange, you've got 180 days to get it sold, but the rollover is only allowing 60 days. So you've got to get cash back in there from some source.
Well, thank you. Well, David and Thomas Moore with IRA Advantage today, IRAadvantage.com or .net, and hope you found today's segments helpful, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, Tom, for joining us.
Thank you.